I think in terms of most important sort of stuff, probably like I've got a Juno 60, which is pretty integral to the song Afterlife. A lot
Nice.
of that is on there, a few pads there. And the Nord Electro, just a I love the Electro, man, like the 4D, it's so good.
Welcome to Audio Technology Magazine's ISO Booth podcast, where we phone audio engineers and producers at home. And thanks to the pandemic lockdown, they answer.
Hey everyone, Rob here, and welcome to another Audio Technology ISO Booth. Joining me today is Liam McGorry, who's best known as the songwriting powerhouse behind the band Sasquatch and Dorsal Fins. He's recently released a new solo album called Afterlife under the name Ex-Olympian. Welcome to ISO Booth, Liam.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I must actually just start us off. Ex-Olympian.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
I guess I'm not great at naming things in general, but I think it was kind of always loved that sign in Lygon Street, the ex-Olympic champion one. So I think just something about sort of having to move into a sort of new phase of life and that sort of thing, sort of appealed. But it's a bit over the top, I think, in general.
Actually sounds good, though.
Maybe.
It's like, I like, what building is that above?
I think it used to be a bike shop, Borsari's Corner, and now it's a restaurant, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I vaguely know where that is. Sweet.
Yeah, I think it's Bratton Street, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that side. Awesome. Yep. So, firstly, coming out of these like really quite big musical groups, where you were like, so were you basically like the kind of chief songwriter, muso? Like, what was your like role, for want of a better word?
Yeah, I guess. Thanks for asking. I think starting off particularly with Sasquatch, it kind of just fell into it. Like we were doing a lot of covers and that sort of thing, playing a lot of like busking and kind of house parties and sort of low level gigs and that sort of thing. And kind of we needed to write some songs and kind of no one else really wanted to do it. So I guess kind of got thrust into that sort of zone, but then started to really enjoy it and be like, this is this is something I really enjoy and I keep doing it. So fortunately found it that way. And I guess Dorsal Fins was kind of like it's a big sort of band, like 9-piece as well. And
wow.
Kind of just good to work in collaboration, particularly with Jared Brown and Ella Thompson, two singers who I really love and songwriters as well, and a bit more collaborative as well on the instrumental front and that sort of realm as well.
Cool. Like, just to get a sense of it, so like 9-piece, like, are we talking like, I've heard a little bit of Dorsal Fins. Are you talking like, is it like chamber pop? Like what was the makeup? Like when you've got that many people?
I guess rock and roll at the sort of heart of it.
Nice.
But a bit of soul, funk.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
did you have horns? Was that?
Yeah. Myself on trumpet and Ross and Will on saxes and stuff. And
nice.
But yeah, it's good to just do things even as a collaborative sort of thing. And I really love working with people in that way. So it's been great.
Yeah. So like coming out of that and kind of going solo, I was going to ask you, like, did you find yourself having to kind of step up because you've been doing songwriting and arranging? Do you find yourself having to step up your production chops, or was that more of a natural progression of where you were at anyway?
No, definitely. I think somewhat, as you mentioned, maybe a natural progression, but also like, it was a big sort of concerted effort on my part just to try and get a lot better at production, and like always been, writing songs and demos and, pretty bad sort of demos all along throughout Sasquatch and Dorsal Fins and stuff. But just wanted to kind of, I guess, flesh them out a bit more and do more myself. And that's, I guess, the solo aspect of the solo artist sort of thing. But it's more a collaborative solo artist sort of thing, I would say.
Okay. So when you say collaborative, so What are you talking like?
I think maybe just in terms of, maybe writing the song and sort of fleshing out most of the details, but then like getting someone else involved, be it a singer or instrumentalist, to really sort of take it in another direction and add, a bit of energy and that sort of thing, which is, particularly when working on your own, is kind of hard to kind of get, I think, personally.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, and especially like, I guess like I found it tricky to not be too precious with stuff I have, be like, because I know it could be better if I let someone in to like, take their own interpretation of it. Like
definitely. And, with mixing the record, there was a lot of sort of collaboration as well, particularly with John Castle and Hamer Marriott, two friends who are really great mix engineers and producers, and awesome. Really kind of help shape it as well.
Cool. Yeah. So thinking about like instrument choice and things, like how did you settle on the sonic palette like for the album?
Good question. I feel like it kind of just sort of felt the way through. It's like it took probably 3+ years to kind of make the record, and with Sasquatch kind of winding down, and went to Europe for 6 months and that sort of thing, and just to kind of work out what to do and what sort of role in music I kind of had, and that sort of thing. Yeah, I guess it was a bit of a returning to sort of soul funk sort of roots, I think. Just, sort of music that I love, and trying to make music fun again and that sort of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that was the sort of premise, going back to move forward sort of thing.
Yeah.
And, largely embracing my main instrument, I guess, the trumpet as well. So... yeah, that's a big goal with the record and the sonic palette.
So you kind of based it off that. So going from there, were you looking back to like, like, I don't know, like the 70s, 80s? Is that the way you were kind of choosing synths and choosing other things that were integral to the sound?
I guess yes and no. Like in a lot of senses, the 70s sort of informed 70s soul and funk disco sort of stuff informed a lot of the sonic choices and that sort of stuff. But I think it was more in terms of like informing the overall sort of record. I'd say it was just kind of doing it and like just sort of making the road by walking and feeling the way and seeing what sort of sounds good and building upon that. Yeah.
So like the stuff behind you, was that like some of the more important things in the album? Like what have you got?
Yeah, I think in terms of most important sort of stuff, probably like I've got a Juno 60, which is pretty integral to the song Afterlife. A lot of that is on there, a few pads there. And the Nord Electro, just a multiple, I love the Electro and like the 4D, it's so good.
You got what were you using mostly? Like I love the Rhodes on there, so nice. Yeah,
the Rhodes are so good. It's pretty much on every song, that sort of Rhodes. And I love the Mellotron samples on there too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and a few of the newer sort of Selena string sort of samples on there, and yeah, I like it's so good. All the library is awesome. I love just updating it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Also the I don't know if you can see this, the Behringer RD8 drum machine. Yeah, I love that one. That's pretty integral to a few of the songs on the record. The Javelin Flight and Netherwell Boogie kind of bought it and kind of made 2 songs, and yeah, it was good. Yeah.
So you'd use that kind of like inspiration and building your own sounds with the synths, and like was that kind of as far as the RD8 goes, I guess.
Yeah, I guess a lot of it, a lot of the process was kind of built on, maybe sampling a drum break or kind of a percussion sort of thing, and trying to sort of build things up from there, and just get it feeling good first of all, which I'm sure a lot of people do in terms of writing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then kind of just layering things, and then holding on to the demo and revisiting, and it was a kind of really long term sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years is a pretty decent production process. Yeah, but I guess you would let you hone in on what you were really wanting, because you probably did you have a huge corpus of work you could have put in, I imagine?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm not sure about yourself or most people, but I get pretty I do a lot of small sort of things, and then try to flesh them out, and then if I don't like, yeah, exactly. And then just if I'm really not liking it, I'll just delete it, and then just that sort of thing. But yeah, just trying to persevere on as much as possible, and kind of shape the all of the songs together and that sort of thing. But it's the whole process, it was kind of like that in the studio, and then taking it to John or Hamer, and really kind of maybe adding a real kit, or adding real something vocals, and just trying to get it sounding nice. I think that was the general process.
Awesome. So one thing that really stood out to me as I was listening through, and I have really quite biased ears because I'm a bassist. Bass sounds like a super important part of the album. I was wondering, as far as playing and the gear and the signal chain, it's a really nice, articulate sound. And I was wondering, what's the deal? How did you get there?
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. It's the my second instrument, the bass. Nice. Love it. It's good to play a bit more bass on most of the record. Richard Bradbeer also on bass on, I think, three of the songs. It's actually, I'll just grab it.
Go for it.
The Greco Hofner.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all this guy.
Classic.
Yeah, got it. Just like a $500 short scale bass. I love it. It's I pretty much use it on everything, and bought it a couple of years ago and haven't stopped using it.
Oh, wow. Well, quite surprised. That wasn't the sound I was like. That wasn't what I was expecting. I wasn't hearing Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
But and what are you running it through? How do you get?
Pretty much straight in, man. Like DI, and then John is very good at a lot of processing and that sort of stuff. I don't think he did too much to it, but it's got such a nice attack, and also the sub with it is it's really nice. I really like the overall sort of sound. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Easy.
What do you play yourself, man?
What do I play? I'm not an amazing bassist. It's very much my second instrument, or third. It's not great. But
that's great.
I own a 1960s Yamaha bass.
Beautiful.
Their first model. And it sounds vintage. It's not very accurate. I can't play very short notes. It kind of just rings. So you can try. But it's got a really nice, vintage sound to it. It's a nice bass.
That's awesome.
I love bass. I agree with you. It's definitely my second instrument, but it's so good to play. And you're such an integral part of the sound and the vibe of whatever you're playing that it's
definitely right. No, it's fantastic. That's good. You have to check them out.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them around. I got one from Found Sound.
Awesome.
That's my first bass. So as far as recording went, how did you get the sound? What was did you have to do a lot of experimentation, or was the studio, did that make it quite easy?
Good question. It kind of happened in a couple of phases. The first one we recorded in at Newmarket Studios with Cal Barter, a friend who was running it at the time, and we did a few sort of songs, Lilac Youth, Voices in My Head, and Brother, all with a band live to tape and that sort of thing. And then with a few other songs that didn't make the record and that sort of thing. And then I've kind of sat on those songs. I was like, oh, this sounds great and everything. But then in sort of completing the album, most of it was done in here in the studio and sort of written here and then mixed by John Castle at his studio and that sort of thing. So that was really, really great just to have that sort of more sort of, it's not really one sort of thing. It's a group of different sort of recordings and all melded into one. So it was just kind of good to have some of the early ones and some of the, some more hands-on sort of things as well for the record.
Cool. And like trumpet being your thing, do you have a mic? Do you have a preamp? Like, what do you do?
Good question. It's a lot of trial and error. I'm not an engineer by any stretch, but generally like SM7 or I've got a M160, the Bayer Dynamic, that ribbon, double ribbon. Yeah. But either or. And that's pretty much it.
There you go.
The trumpet. Yeah, just in a dodgy sort of room here.
Do you manage in there? Like first reflections?
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of sounds cool. Like, and I don't know, I kind of like layering it and that sort of thing as well. Like it's like doubling it and tripling, and it's cool. It's lots of fun.
Stacking it, awesome. Yeah, cool. I imagine. And also, so as far as like, did you do much like as far as like creative processing? Like, do you have any outboard that you like using or any plugins? Like, what did that look like?
Definitely. I actually a lot of in terms of the overall sort of sound, like a lot of the record was using the Good Hertz, the Volve compressor, so that sound emulating the SP303 sampler. Cool. It's awesome. Like I love it. Just love hip hop and that sort of sound, like Madlib and all music made on 303 and that sort of stuff. And just used it a lot in terms of on most instruments or like a master bus, in as a part of the sort of chain. But I just like the sound, and I know it's a bit sort of clumsy and that sort of thing, but I don't know. Sometimes just getting the immediate sort of vibe.
Sounds like Vibe Central. That like, nice.
It's good. It's a good. I really like that plugin, and just really sort of gets things happening pretty quickly.
Nice. Is there anything else that like establishes the vibe? Like anything else that you're like, wow, like if I got rid of that in the album, like it would not be the same.
Yeah, I guess just the a few different sort of tape plugins as well. Like I'm not an expert on any sort of audio side of things, but kind of just a trial and error sort of guy. But you
got good ears.
Oh, you're too kind, man. Thank you. But that J37 one, I really like that, and the Kramer tape one as well. Yeah, they're fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. And you just like, once you've slammed something through a tape machine, especially like drum loop, like, yes. Yeah. It's such a nice sound.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And, it was great. We did a few of those songs, as mentioned, to tape, which was awesome as well. Just so great to have crunchy sort of drums and that sort of thing. It's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Thinking. I've run out of questions. But
no, all good.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, so, I'm just trying to think if there's any holes. Like,
that's what cool.
Are there any as far as your like, what was your so your relationship with like your mates who did mixing?
Yeah.
Like, is that a very highly collaborative approach that you had like with them, like in ways of mixing and producing?
Definitely, yeah. The earlier songs with Hamer, he kind of just took them away and did his thing, which was fantastic. And he's an amazing mix engineer, and he's done a lot of stuff with GL and Harvey Sutherland and the new Cut Copy record and that sort of thing. So, and then so that was fantastic. And then with John, it was great to spend a bit of time in the studio doing a lot of sort of additional recording and mixing and that sort of stuff. And that was a really fun process where, he'd record a bit of drums or like we do some pianos and just kind of put the sort of icing on the cake and that was a really sort of fun experience too. Just great to work a bit more collaboratively, like in terms of obviously when you're playing in a band with like 9 or so people, it's a lot of people to kind of work with, which is a really great vibe. But also good to kind of pare it back and just have a really focused sort of, one-on-one sort of like, oh, we should do this or we should do that, and that sort of thing. I guess the flexibility and the sort of, you have to kind of trust and sort of work together towards something. So that's been,
cool. Sounds like a great experience. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Like it's great music. I really enjoy it.
Keep going, man. Thanks for listening.